What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's Rahul, and today we're going to be going over a deck that you guys might not really remember since Darkness Ablaze, because it's kind of fallen off the wayside due to decks like Eternatus and other stuff being really popular. But with Path to the Peak, Dragapult VMAX gets a little bit more life, and it comes back into the meta with a lot of energy denial and energy hate, because that's something that we really have been missing. And if you've missed Crushing Hammer as a card, well, I've got the deck for you. If you guys find anything informative in this video or enjoy any of the content that I put out, because I upload almost 3 to 4 times a week, please hit that subscribe button, that like button. It would really help me out to know when I go up with a new video, and twitch.tv/theflea to just hang out with me on evenings, and TikTok for fun content. So without further ado, let's jump in to the deck. Alright guys, here's the deck. Dragapult VMAX, you guys know it, you guys might love it, you might hate it. I don't really know what your stance on it is. It came out in Rebel Clash, didn't really make too much of an impact off the bat, but the card itself is very strong, having the attack Max Phantom for 130 and put 5 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like, letting you set up for these knockouts and let you play the game in a little bit of a different way. Now, Dragapult's life was kind of short-lived due to Eternatus coming out pretty much the very next set and making it so Dragapult had to go back into people's binders. Despite that, Dragapult did see some play when Urshifu VMAX came out last set, but again, Eternatus was still a deck, other decks could still beat it. Dragapult didn't really have ground to stand on. So I kind of took a different approach with Dragapult, but it's an approach people have already seen with Clefable from the same set using Prankish. This is an idea I had way long time ago. I was cleaning out my deck lists and I was like, maybe this could still work, where when you evolve into Clefable, you can put an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon on top of their deck, therefore restricting their top deck for the turn, knowing it's going to be an energy card, taking away their energy attachment for the turn, paired with cards like Fan of Waves, which put the special energy on the bottom of the deck, Crushing Hammer, which discards an energy from their opponent's active, and Path to the, or not active but anywhere, and Path to the Peak, that stop all the rule boxes from having any abilities, and our favorite supporter, Team Grunt, to kind of just stifle them from playing the game. And then our 130s and 50 damages will slowly start adding up. If they attack into us for little damage, chip damage, they take chip damage back into the horror energies. It's a little bit of a rude strategy overall, but it was working a lot last night on stream, and I really like how the deck functions. Yes, you do fold to Galarian Moltres V, but if you get a Path to the Peak to stick against even Galarian Moltres V, that matchup becomes winnable into Dark types as well. So Path to the Peak, a very strong card. We have 1 copy of Crobat and Dedenne, because we do need our own dig a little bit, just to get the early game rolling, because we need a Dragapult in Energy turn 1 or turn 2 at the latest. We have Mewtwo with Mind Report, because we already play Scoop Up Nets to pick up our Clefables with Prankish, so being able to reuse Grunt or being able to reuse something like Cheryl is going to be really invaluable. Now the deck gets better because of Fog Crystal, obviously, because every single Psychic type Pokemon gets a little bit of life. That's a basic, because Fog Crystal is another one of our search cards. So now we have 7 here search cards specifically. You could also cut an Evo Incense for a quick ball, but I'm trying 3 Evo Incenses at the current moment. We have 7 different search cards to get our basics down turn 1, as well as potential attachment on top of that. So very strong. And then we have our 3 Evolution Incenses to get either directly Clefable or get our Dragapult VMAX. So Evolution Incense, I think, is overall becoming a very strong card in this current format. We play 4 copies of Scoop Up Net because it also acts as a switching out for our little guys that are not VMAXs, because Dragapult has a 1 retreat cost, which is really nice actually, as do these 2 guys. They both have a 1 retreat cost. We have 2 copies of Boss's Orders to kind of close out the game. It's not really meant for doing much besides closing out the game, but we have Mewtwo as well to recycle if we need that. We have 1 copy of Cheryl because we do want to buy time here and there sometimes, so we could retreat our big VMAX guy that's like taking a ton of damage, use the Cheryl, and then come back in with a new guy and use Shred just for a plain vanilla 60, but that 60 could really set up numbers down the line. Also Shred, important to note, goes through Decidueye, so really good in that matchup as well. 3 copies of Money and 4 copies of Research. Sometimes people like to switch the order around, but I think having early Research is way more important because our setup is way more important than Disruption. I've been trying to find room for Stamp in this deck, but I don't think I can. Yeah, we have 2 copies of Horror. I would like to have more, but I think having more basic Psychics is important due to Fog Crystal and being able to get the energy from that specifically. And then we have 1 copy of Air Balloon to give ourselves a free retreat option somewhere in case Clefable gets stuck and we can't find a Scoop Up Net, or Mewtwo gets stuck and we can't find a Scoop Up Net. But that's the deck. It's very straightforward, so let's get into some gameplay with the deck, shall we? Okay, we're up against our first matchup. again, I think this deck can deal with pretty much everything that isn't pure Turbo Dark types, or Eternatus, I guess, rather specifically, because Eternatus, even with Path to the Peak in play, can one-shot your Eternatus or your Dragapult VMAX, which is a little bit of a problem. And also Galarian Moltres is a card that does hurt us a lot, because it can self-accelerate and kind of get the ball rolling before we can do something about it. Now this opening hand is not amazing, but we do have a Yell Grunt. We have a Crushing Hammer, and we have a Path to the Peak, so we can kind of do our own setup before we can inhibit theirs. ADP, kind of a good matchup for us. If they attach a Water Energy, we can Crushing Hammer. Big Charm and a Zamazenta. Interesting that they're playing Zamazenta, actually. The Zamazenta does make life a little bit annoying, because we have to use Shred to go through that. But 2 Metal Sauce are gone. That's really good for us, actually, because that's 2 of his ways to get energy back from here on out. Intrepid Sword comes through. Nothing crazy. Also, Path to the Peak goes through Dauntless Shield, so also important to note. Heads, our Crushing Hammer is successful. I'm going to go ahead and just Dedenne this hand. Crobatting for 1 seems like it would only serve to hurt me down the line. Okay, cool. We get another Clefairy down. We're going to go ahead and Fog Crystal for another Dragapult, because I think that'd be pretty important to have in play. I'm going to go ahead and Fog Crystal for another Clefairy as well, just because getting a double, if he somehow gets an ADP GX off, getting a double Clefable off would be really big. And we're going to hit Marnie. Because if he gets the GX off with a Saucer and everything, and I double Clefable or a Crushing Hammer Clefable here, I set him back really far because he has to use a 3rd Saucer to even attack this turn. There's no reason I want a Mewtwo here. Getting a Yell Grunt back would be cool, but I already have a Crushing Hammer, and we're going to go ahead and just Bite. Bite for 30 damage. The 30 damage is irrelevant really, but he had a big Charm on the board, so it kind of helps me with numbers, I guess. He plays Crushing Hammer also. Excuse me, sir, that's very rude of you. And a Marnie of his own. Looks like our turns were very similar between the 2 of us, except he's playing a deck that doesn't need Crushing Hammers anymore. Alright, this is not good. If I top deck a Clefable, it's okay. It's playable. This is not good. Let's go ahead and boss up the Zamazenta and pass. Somehow my hand that had a lot of outs, a lot of juice, I got put into a situation like this. So maybe putting the Mewtwo down to put a Marnie on top would have been an okay situation to give myself a follow-up supporter in the event that this exact scenario happened. But how could I have really predicted this would have happened? There's probably a ton of scenarios where I predict this happens, or like I get Marnied in like a bunch of scenarios. So maybe I should have just known. Maybe I should have just been smart about it. Oh, a Great Catcher. Interesting. I think he's just thinning so he can use Crobat, realistically. Yeah. He's putting away a lot of metals into the discard. Switch, there it is. Top decking Clefable would still be pretty okay for me. We're going to go ahead and just do this and pass. Now we're in a lot of trouble, actually, because he's going to attack, get energies onto the board. And my hand, for lack of better terms, is bad. It's just bad. So if this Crushing Hammer hits, this might be just game over. That's super unfortunate. Okay. Ultimate, knocking out our rat. How do we deal with this situation now? We're going to throw up Clefairy because we don't want to give him a place to just take 3 prizes for free. And we're going to have to hope we top deck into like a Marnie or a Sycamore or something. There's a Sycamore. Good start. Now this is like one of the few situations where having Stamp would be really nice. Okay, Crushing Hammer Tails for us. Let's get that path down, attach to the bench, and pass. Now if he has a boss's orders, he does win the game. So we have to hope he doesn't have one. Boss plus attachment on the bench. I do have a Marnie to follow up next turn, but I think I just have to keep researching because my hand is pretty bad. He's attaching here, and he's going to just knock out the Clefairy, it looks like. Or I just assume this is the play he's going to make. So maybe I have to Marnie. Ordinary Rod in ADP. Very interesting. If I win this game, it'd be a pretty insane comeback. Because I think I'm like pretty down and out of this. I have to make sure he doesn't have a boss. He didn't have a boss last turn, or he was missing a piece last turn. I just have to hope he misses another piece this turn. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and research again. There's the VMAX. We're going to just simply take the Clefairy off the board so he doesn't have access to it anymore to win the game through that route. We're going to go ahead and max Phantom, putting 5 damage counters onto the Zacian, all onto the Zacian. Now we're not in a good position by any means because he's going to attack into us, and then we kind of Mallow and Lana in ADP. What is going on right now? These are not normal cards. The Zom comes through, but I have Path to the Peak, so it doesn't really matter. I just lose an energy here, but I do lose this, which kind of sucks. Now, how do I approach this scenario? I could retreat and attack him with Shred, which seems like the best course of action. But I don't have a follow-up energy if I do this play, because I don't have I can grab the Cheryl. Let's grab a research and see what we can do. And Shred. I think this one's an all she wrote kind of situation, but Boss's Order wins him game. Yeah, just attacking there also probably wins him game. Okay. So Evo Incense. Thin the deck a little bit. Put the metal or water on top of the deck, I guess is fine. Is there any way I survive this? I don't think so. Let's go out with a Blaze of Glory. If our hand was not super terrible, we actually could have won this matchup pretty easily, I think. Based on what happened in this game. But we're unfortunately a couple turns too far behind where we need to be. So we get got in game 1. Let's go to a game 2. Alright, the next game is up. Let's see if the deck shows a little bit of a better display. We got stuck there, not due to our own path or anything, just our hand was pretty bad. But as a player, you have to understand that you will have bad hands here and there, and sometimes you'll get Marnie out of the game. If there was no possibility to get Marnie out of the game, or like stuck out of the game, these cards would not be played. So it's important to acknowledge that that can happen to anyone, honestly. We have Yell Grunt Path, which is really nice also for a turn 1 play. And Fog Crystal, so we get the attachment. Sobble. Okay, so we're up against Rapid Strike. Never mind. We're not up against Rapid Strike. We're up against Inteleon. What the fuck? Okay. Oh, he's Path to the Peaking me. He thinks that I'm in his trap card. Oh, this poor, poor child. We're going to have to reuse this Cheryl at some point, because this is one of those few matchups where I think Cheryl has like a lot of value. We're going to go ahead and grab this. Our hand is not super ideal, but we do have the VMAX and we have an energy. If we find a boss next turn, that'd probably be even better. He discarded an energy, so I don't know if he just didn't want to attach last turn, or the rest of his hand is just really good. Because over the course of all of your attacks, I feel like Inteleon VMAX is second. Oh, Melanie, that's right. That's probably... That makes sense. I was too busy trying to logic things. I was like, man, why would he discard that if he could max bullet? Forgot Melanie's a card. That's Scoop Up Net. Okay, alright. This energy is coming back to my hand. Well, I mean, I could get Crushing Hammer heads here, and then I'm going to shred him. We'll see with the new one. Nice. Very well done. Very well done, Crushing Hammer. Shred for 60. There's no rhyme or reason for doing this. I just wanted to do the fresh one. I also have an Evo Incense, so I can just pivot at any point. Evo Incense for Drizzile. They get to play the game now. Their hand was actually really good. Considering the weird, awkward lull we're in. That's kind of a downside, I guess. They're, like, other decks have these sort of engines, whereas, like, Dragapult engine is not an engine. You're just kind of hoping that everyone else doesn't set up faster than you, because your entire premise of your deck is to, like, stop them from playing the game. Because I don't have any way to accelerate psychics, so I will be doing 60 damage for like a good bit. He's probably got a Scoop Up Net, and he's gonna go attach 60. Scoop Up Net attach 60. Rope. That's fine because I get to keep my energy now. I think that might be significantly worse than just hitting into my active. That's really good. We're gonna go ahead and do this. We're gonna go ahead and Prankish and then Marnie. He gets the energy back, but I'm just preventing him from doing a Melanie play for the 160 down the line. This way he needs another attachment, at the very minimum. I don't think either of our paths to the peak will be moved this game. So we're going to go ahead and grab Clefairy. I can also quick ball at any given point to grab Mewtwo for Cheryl. And, yeah, set up a play after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just put pressure onto 1. I think I could have split based on Inteleon, but I think Inteleon does 150 HP. So I could have gone 3, 2, just putting it in boss range. But I think if I have boss, I always try to KO this. We have another Prankish, good to go for next turn. I can also quick ball, slam the Mewtwo, grab the Cheryl. Look for a play. Hand is good. I'm in a good spot. I can also slam Mewtwo, look for the boss, put it on top. And that's a concession because we got him, boys. And that's the deck. Dragapult. You guys see it. You guys love it. You might hate it. Dragapult Denial. Don't forget that exists. If you guys enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, you know the deal. I'll be doing uploads as much as I can. And let's grow Pokemon TCG together. Until next time, it's Rahul. Peace, guys.